Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel where we talk about all things related to the car buying experience. I'm Mo and we're going to discuss today how do you figure out what your payments are going to be in a car. So that is the simplest thing ever. I'm just going to tell you a quick story. When I first decided to buy a car, what I did was I took a payment I could afford. I multiplied that payment by how long I thought I wanted to finance the car, and that gave me the dollar amount that I needed to buy a car for. So just say, for example, I decided I was going to go 60 months. I wanted to pay $200 a month. 2 times 6, 12, so it's $12,000. So I figured, I need to buy a car a little somewhere under $12,000 to get to be my budget, right? Very simplistic, but it worked for me. I mean, as far as it kept me kind of within my ranges of what I wanted to do. It is surprising how many people still coming having no clue of what their payments are going to be. They're looking at cars that are, $35,000, $40,000 and somehow expecting to be $250 to $300 a month with little to no money down. So so I thought, let me share just basic simple thing. Now, one of the things I've always believed in is being prepared, right? Preparation. There is a saying, and it's a paraphrase, that success favors the prepared. And it's nothing more than you go in with knowledge, you go in with understanding, and nothing can surprise you, or not that nothing can surprise you, but you have less chance of being, oh, I didn't expect that, sort of thing, because it should align with your preparation, right? Whatever it is that you're looking for. And that's a whole life principle in itself, not just car buying. So how do you figure out your payments? So once you've gone through and figured out pricing of the vehicle, kind of where it should be or where you want to be on that thing, you take your number. And in most states, you're going to pay sales tax. Now, there are some states that don't charge tax. They charge either some sort of flat fee, but it's very few. Most states are going to charge you a sales tax. Now, what I've experienced, and I don't know if this is true throughout all of the United States, but I've worked in at least 3 different states, Florida, Georgia, and now, of course, California. And in all those states where they charge sales tax, the tax is based on where you live, not where you're buying the vehicle. So normally when you go into a retail store to buy something, you're paying tax in that vicinity, in that district, in that tax area, right? So not so with car sales. So if sometimes even within a county, like say, for example, in Los Angeles County, there are areas that are 9.5%. There are areas currently, because it's about to change. There's some areas that are 10.25%, 10.5%. So because they have additional city taxes where they are and so forth. Then you have counties, surrounding counties, that are as low as 7.75%, and others around 8%. So bottom line is, typically when you buy the car, you're going to pay sales tax on that vehicle based on where you live, okay? So just for math's sake, let's just say your sales tax is 10%, you're buying a car for $30,000, your tax is going to be $3,000, 10% of $30,000. Then additionally, you're going to have at least some sort of DMV fee, so registration, licensing, that sort of thing, right? And so that would be maybe another couple percent, but again, you've got to kind of get an idea within your state where you are. But for rough math, you can use 2%, maybe high in some states, maybe a little bit lower in some, but just so you have an idea. So you add all of those numbers together. So your $30,000 for the car, your $3,000 in tax, and your DMV fee of 2%, so on $30,000, it's going to be $600. Like I said, it's going to give or take. It's not going to. That's not 100%, and it's not a set figure. It varies in wherever you are. So once you add all that up, you're going to be, so on my math and what we're doing, we're going to be at 33.6 is what that is going to come out to be. So you take that number, you will subtract whatever down payment that you plan to put. So you subtract that number. Let's just say you're doing $10,000 down, so 33,000 leaves you with 23,000 financing. So here's how you figure your payments. Super easy. So go to bankrate.com. So again, bankrate.com. They have finance calculators there, and you can find one that's specifically for car financing. Now I like bankrate.com because it's just straightforward. All you have to do is put in the amount that you're financing, put in the rate that you're getting, and put in the term. So the amount you're financing, $23,000. Let's just say your financing rate is 3.9% at 48 months, and it spits out the number, and there's your payment. I mean, it's that simple. Now, there's something I was just thinking about as I was talking. Rate. We should figure out how you're going to determine the rate. So you can simply talk to a local lender. So if you have a bank or credit union that you're doing business with, and you have an idea of where your credit score is, and you should, if I were you, I would at least sign up with Credit Karma or go to use one of those services on, like, say, a credit card or with your bank that gives you a monitoring system that, you know, gives you an updated credit score without you having to inquire on a monthly basis. The only thing with those scores, it is more generic / a lot of times, especially if you're doing it on a credit card from a credit card service, the score may be geared more towards credit card credit, right? When you're getting a car, the matrix that they use, or the algorithm they use, is based on car loans. So there are differences in scores. So you don't have a score per se. You have hundreds of scores, but they're going to be within a range. So let's just say if you're a 750 on a credit card thing, you know, it could be a 770 with cars, or, you know, or even if you're lower in the high sixes, you may end up being 700. I mean, so, but based on what you know, okay? And if you get a pleasant surprise, you get a pleasant surprise. Typically, most lenders, if you're at a 700 credit score or better, you will qualify for the best rates that they have available. And then they have different tiers if you go below 700. So 680 to 699 will be one rate, and so on. So what I'm suggesting is talk to your bank without them having to pull credit or anything. And say, listen, my score is around this number right here. What kind of rates would you be offering on new cars for 60 months, 72 months, 48 months, whatever term you want to use? Another thing to consider, a lot of times there are different rates depending on the terms. So you may have a lower rate at 48 months, a little bit higher rate at 60 months, or a little bit higher rate at 72 months. There are a lot of variables in there, and it depends on your lender, and that's something you have to ask. Now, if you use that information and plug in those numbers into that Bankrate calculator, you will have a very good idea of what a payment should be. So let's say you came out with a $450 payment, just throwing out a number. Just say you came out at a $450 payment. Obviously, if you go into a dealership and they're hitting you at $600 a month, you know something ain't right? It's like, yeah, no, I did the math and this is not what it was. So, you know, that's the best way to have an idea of where you should be. I mean, the actual numbers will not come out until you actually apply for the financing and get approved. And of course, all the approvals are going to depend on where you are tier wise, you know, score wise, and so forth. Now, typically, you know, if you're if you're, like I said, 700 or above, you're going to be in the best tiers. You're going to have the best rates offered to you. Below that, they are going to be, significantly different. One other thing I would mention too in terms of rates is a lot of times the dealers through their manufacturer have financing rates that are better than the bank or the credit union, because what they do is they subsidize the rate. So like in this current market, it is virtually impossible for the banks to beat the financing that most dealers have. There are some cars, for example, that they even put 0% on them because frankly the car doesn't move as well as they would need it to move. And so to incentivize it, they put 0%, or you'll get 1.9 or 2.9s. In today's market, 2025, there's no such thing at a bank as 0%. I mean, banks earn their money on the interest they charge, right? As part of their business model. So 2.9s, 1.9s, even 3.9s is pretty challenging. It's not challenging. You will not get it at a bank. I'll say that right now. At this particular moment, you would not get that at a bank. On new cars, in today's market, it's going to be in somewhere in the 5 to 6% range on best credit tier. And I can tell you, even in the dealership I'm at this point, at the brand that I'm selling at this point, rates vary from 0 to 4.9 is the highest on a 72-month loan. So again, it all varies depending on the car and so forth. But that's a whole nother topic. Here's the key. So know your price, know what your tax is, estimate your DMV fees. And again, if you use 2%, you maybe overestimate. Better to overestimate than to underestimate. And then take away your down payment from that number, plug in bankrate.com, in the auto loan calculator, the amount that you're financing, how long you're financing for, what is the rate that you have researched, and that gives you a payment. And that way you have an idea of, does this thing fit in your budget, so on and so forth. So I rambled a bit, but that's pretty much it. I just wanted to again give you the basics of that, and hopefully you find this thing helpful. If you find the information helpful, comment below, subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Also, if you have questions that you want to ask relating to the car buying purchase, feel free to just put it in the comment section below. If you want answers to any particular question, I will address them at some later point in the videos. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you, and thank you again for watching. Peace.